Next on the news.
It's a picture of Pope St. John Paul II getting a copy of the tablet, and it's just one of 100 in Chasing Church News, the book that's bringing 50 years of Diocese of Brooklyn history into your home. I'm Jessica Easthope. That story's ahead.
Also tonight, the importance of a Catholic upbringing, the values of faith-based education as we kick off Catholic Schools Week. Prayers for an apostolic journey. Pope Francis prepares to visit the Congo and South Sudan with slight changes already in his itinerary. Plus, attacked for being Jewish. A man is jumped in New York City for wearing a yarmulke. What the father of the victim hopes will happen next. I'm Christine Persichetti. Currents News starts right now. Flipping through time, decades in the diocese caught on camera. Maybe you don't remember them, but now there's a chance to relive it all. And that's all thanks to one man who literally chased church news in Brooklyn and beyond for half a century. Ed Wilkinson, the editor emeritus of the Tablet newspaper, has now developed his first book, and it's a snapshot of faith in action. Currents News' Jessica Easthope joins us now to talk about how you can get your hands on the negatives. Hi, Jess.
Hi, Christine. This special photo book has a greater mission than just paging through the past. It's helping to keep Catholic journalism alive, and you can be a part of it. Most Sundays, Ed Wilkinson is just another person in the pews at Our Lady of Angels Church in Bay Ridge. He's been a parishioner there for 30 years, but for longer than that, Ed has been a journalist in the Diocese of Brooklyn. Chasing Church News, that's the title of his new book. It chronicles his 50-year career with the Tablet newspaper, each picture representing a single moment in one of them.
It gives us a sense of Catholic identity, of who we are as a church. People sometimes forget, they should be proud to say they're Catholic. And when you look at these pictures and you say, well, this is what it's meant to be Catholic for the last 50 years.
On Sunday, Ed signed copies of the book after Mass.
Thank you so much.
Along with purchasing a book, parishioners were able to sign up to be a member of the Tablet and part of its mission of covering news from a Catholic perspective.
The church has to be available to evangelize in all different forms of media. And if newspapers are out there, we've got to be involved in it. We've got to be getting our message out there. But there's nothing like the print media.
By joining, readers play an important role in preserving Catholic journalism.
People today are so depressed and they're really overwhelmed by world events, and the Tablet keeps everybody together and working towards the good things, that Jesus wanted us to do.
The Tablet and Nuestra Voz are the last Catholic newspapers in New York. Our Lady of Angels pastor, Father Kevin Abels, says supporting them is supporting the church.
We have so much good news to get out to people, and we have to just hold on and make sure that we're supporting the good work of the Tablet.
Ed estimates he's taken hundreds of thousands of photos over the years. His favorite in the book isn't one of well-known church figures like Mother Teresa or Pope St. John Paul II. It's a picture of a young boy drinking water from a fire hydrant on the streets of Williamsburg in the 70s.
It said something about poverty. It said something about thirst and, human need. Every picture has a story behind it.
The pages of Chasing Church News are where church history and Ed's own history collide. Don't worry, churches around the diocese haven't seen the last of Ed Wilkinson. His tour is going to continue. Here's a look at the parishes he's going to visit next. And if you can get there, you'll leave Mass with a copy. On February 5th, Ed will be at St. Andrew the Apostle Church in Bay Ridge right after the 9 a.m. Mass. And on February 12th, he'll make his way over to Queens, where he'll set up camp at the Church of St. Mel in Flushing after the 10:30 Mass. That's it for right now, but I heard a secret. He's also getting St. Anselm, Our Lady Queen of Martyrs, and Our Lady of Hope in the calendar in the coming weeks. Christine?
Thanks, Jess. Say you can't get to one of those book signings, you can still become a part of the Tablet's membership program and get your hands on Chasing Church News. For just $50, you'll not only get the paper sent straight to your mailbox, you can gift a subscription to a friend, plus get access to the Tablet's online content and a quarterly newsletter, and get a commemorative drawstring bag and pin. But that's just the tip of the iceberg. Donate $100 and you'll become a sponsor, getting everything we just mentioned, plus a tablet-based baseball cap and be a part of the recognition listing on the paper's website. Contribute $250 and you become a patron. And among the things added to your list of perks are 4 tickets to Tablet Appreciation Night at the Cyclone Stadium and free VIP access to certain diocesan events. For $500, you will become a benefactor of the tablet, and you'll also get that signed copy of Ed Wilkinson's book and an invitation to the annual Catholic Communications Mass and Reception. And if you give $1,000, you will become a founder. That'll secure you an invitation to the annual Editors Roundtable reception. To see the full list of membership levels and the benefits of each, just go to thetablet.org/become-a-member. And a note for everyone who is already subscribed to the tablet. Good news for the good news. You can upgrade your subscription to get any of these memberships if you want to. And in the tablet and on Currents News all week long, the importance of a Catholic upbringing. It's Catholic Schools Week, and we're taking the next 5 days to highlight all the values a faith-based education can bring, starting with Our Lady of Grace Catholic Academy in Gravesend. Students at the school are taking Mission Monday to heart. The lower grades made Valentine's Day cards for seniors in the Waterford on the Bay nursing home, and the upper grades made care packages full of necessities for homeless and those in need. The day was organized by the Student Council, who raised money to get the supplies.
The mission of the church to serve those on the margins, as Pope Francis has invited us, was so clearly part of that project.
It's our job to give back, and this is what being in Catholic school is a part of, and it's truly our pleasure to give back being a Catholic.
This is a perfect way of showing that we are a family. Either you're in this building or on the outside, and we want to help as many people as possible.
The students made 100 of those care packages. They'll be distributed in Coney Island by Our Lady of Grace's Meal Ministry on Wednesday. Every year, Catholic Schools Week gives students across the diocese a chance to showcase their skills, not only to their parents, but they also get in a humble brag to the bishop. This one came in the form of prayer. Kindergartners from Divine Mercy Catholic Academy in Ozone Park don't only know the Lord's Prayer, but they can sing it too. And with an audience, Bishop Robert Brennan was front and center. He then toured the rest of the school, where students of all ages had different presentations. All this week, the bishop will continue his tour to some very lucky academies. Schools in the diocese are doing such a great job that they're even attracting students who aren't Catholic. This week on Currents News, we're going to introduce you to one family that chose a faith-based education after watching stories unfold on Currents News and in the tablet.
Every week I'm spending 5, 6, 7 hours reading every single word of the tablet, and so I ended up reading a lot about Catholic schools in Brooklyn.
And they're not the only ones. 30% of students enrolled in Diocese of Brooklyn schools are not Catholic, but their parents see value in the faith-based curriculum. That's Thursday on Currents News. Be sure to watch Currents News and read the tablet all week long for continuing coverage of Catholic Schools Week. Pope Francis is getting ready to visit South Sudan and the Democratic Republic of Congo. The Holy Father is leaving Tuesday for the trip, which was postponed last July because of his knee problems. Locals are hoping the papal visit will bring peace to this battered region of Africa. Pope Francis's trip to the Democratic Republic of Congo has changed slightly. He was originally going to visit the Kivu region in the eastern part of the country, but now he will not travel there due to the potential danger. In an interview with Spanish magazine Mundo Negro, the Pope said the reason is not that he's afraid, but with an atmosphere like the one in the Kivu region, it could be dangerous to pilgrims who come to see him, and that it's important to take care of people. Both the Pope and the Vatican have explained that no concrete threats have been made regarding the trip. During his visit, Pope Francis will stop in the capital city of Kinshasa there. He'll visit with victims of this ongoing internal conflict.
I really feel like this is a very strong response from the Holy Father to go there and experience the poverty of the people, to encourage all faithful Catholics who are wounded, but also all the people in the land who are waiting for this visit.
Following Congo's first war, which ended in 2003, there was a period of peace. However, the emergence of the rebel group M23 led to growing unrest and violence in East Congo. For this reason, Father Timothy Mukula Chitala, a priest of 10 years for the Diocese of Mbuji-Mayi, believes this papal visit is an important sign of solidarity for the hundreds who have been wounded by the effects of the ongoing conflict.
It is truly my hope that when the Holy Father arrives in the country, as a man of God and a man of faith, the situation will change and we will move from war to peace. We have prayed so much for that, and I really think that this transition to peace is another message that the Pope brings to our land.
The Pope isn't wasting any time on his trip. He'll quickly meet with victims and the Archbishop of Canterbury. As senior correspondent of Crux, Elise Allen tells us this historic trip may be felt for years to come.
This really is a big deal. You know, in South Sudan and in Congo, the church has a huge footprint. They're majority Catholic countries. And so, and especially in South Sudan, there's a huge, strong collaboration amongst all of the churches. It's a majority Christian nation, and there's a very tight and tight-knit collaboration amongst all those different communities on the ground in terms of responding to the conflict that's been unfolding there for years. And so this really is a special visit. And the Pope, even in South Sudan, is going to meet with people who've been displaced by the conflict, which has been going on pretty much since shortly after the country's independence in 2011. And so it's very clear from the appointments that the Pope has while he's there that this is a trip to promote peace, it's a trip to console, and a trip to really foster reconciliation.
Alan mentioned that people in Africa were so used to bad news that when the trip was originally canceled, they didn't expect it to be rescheduled. Seeing the Pope for most is a once-in-a-lifetime opportunity, so some students and teachers are refusing to let this chance slip away. They're walking over 250 miles to welcome the Holy Father. The Walk of Peace, organized by the Laredo Rumbek School, is a pilgrimage from Rumbek to Juba. It began on January 25th and is estimated to take 9 days. It'll end on February 2nd. The school's director, Orla Tracy, says Pope Francis's visit is a blessing and an opportunity for the people of South Sudan to welcome him into their homes.
And I think for us in our area, having the Pope coming, it's an affirmation and hopefully a strengthening for our political leaders to also feel encouraged that though we're not perfect in the country, that, you know, we do have pockets of peace and we are able to move ahead.
The group walks about 12 miles a day and have 4 pillars in their pilgrimage: walking, prayer, peace, and community. As Pope Francis's trip gets underway on Tuesday, Currents News has all the details to keep you up to date with this pilgrimage of peace. The Holy Father will visit the Democratic Republic of Congo from January 31st to February 3rd, staying in the capital city where he'll meet with various authorities, victims of war, and local ministers. Then on Friday, the Holy Father will head to South Sudan, to the capital city, for a series of meetings with various church and civil groups. He will return to Rome on February 5th, following a public mass. And be sure to watch Currents News and read the tablet all week long for exclusive continuing coverage of the Pope's trip to Africa. There's a lot more news headed your way. Getting away with a hate crime. We'll talk to a father whose son was attacked for wearing a yarmulke in New York City. Plus,
we're going to stay focused. We're going to keep moving forward.
What New York City Mayor Eric Adams believes is the key to building trust in the NYPD. And new insight as to why Pope Benedict XVI stepped down from his post. This is video from May of 2021. A group of people ganging up on a Jewish man. 29-year-old Joseph Borgen was wearing a yarmulke and was headed to a pro-Israel rally in Midtown. You could see the attackers kicking the victim, who's on the ground, even hitting him with crutches. 4 men were arrested and charged with assault as a hate crime. But fast forward a year and a half, and it appears at least some of the attackers may be getting away with it. The victim's father, Barry Borgen, joins us now. Barry, thanks so much for being here.
Thank you for having me. Really appreciate it.
Barry, it must be really hard to see that video again and again. How is your son doing?
Thank God he's doing okay. You know, he still had wrist surgery. His wrist is still bothering. He had some ligament damage. And thank God he's alive. They could have killed him, smashed his head into the concrete. I was sitting having dinner Thursday night. I get a call, this is the police, we're taking your son to the hospital. We'll call you when we get there. They call me, he's in Bellevue. I come to the ER, you can't come, there was COVID, it was a whole situation. I made a whole stink, they let me in, and we were there basically all night, and thank God they didn't kill him. He came up to the hospital
weekend. Has it affected him since then?
Well, he has in the back of his mind, where he lives, he always felt someone on occasion was watching him, following him around. He has a dog, he used to go walk his dog. And it's always in the back of his mind. They know where he lives. They can always track me and my family down. And sometimes you worry about stuff like that.
Yeah, he doesn't feel safe. And now, just last week, one of the accused attackers was offered a plea deal, just 6 months in jail. I know you guys were in court for this. Manhattan DA Alvin Bragg defended the deal, saying the suspect didn't initiate the attack. What do you think of that?
Number one, Bragg's an incompetent person. But forget that for now. They were beating up on Asians throughout the past couple months, elderly Asians, nothing happened. Pushing people in the subways, nothing happened. My son was involved in a hate crime, and to offer someone 6 months in jail, just on the side, there was another attack in the courtroom that day, was offered no jail time. And there's a Jewish word, chutzpah.
Yeah.
To offer someone in a hate crime situation no jail time or 6 months in jail, it's mind-boggling as a New Yorker, that's mind-boggling.
What kind of message do you think it sends?
It sends, the quote I say, it's a free-for-all in New York City. And it sends a quote, you want to start up with somebody, there's no repercussions. You can do whatever you want, fight, hit, there's no repercussions. It's a terrible situation.
Now, I'm sure you're aware of the Molotov cocktail attack that happened at a synagogue in New Jersey over the weekend. Also, earlier this month, the Anti-Defamation League released a survey showing a spike in anti-Semitic beliefs in the U.S. only in the last 3 years. How do we combat this?
The problem is a lot of people don't read history. I like to read, I watch History Channel and TV, etc. If you read history, there's a very famous saying that someone said when Nazis came to power was, first they came for the Jews, then they came for the gypsies, then for the homosexuals, then for this one. And by the time it came to speak up, there's nobody to speak up. And unfortunately, people don't really respond to a lot of different things. People see a hate crime, there should be an outcry across the board, whether it's a Jew, an Asian, Muslim, Catholic, African American, whoever it might be. And there's not enough outrage out there when a hate crime happens. It gets in the newspaper 1 or 2 days and it goes away. And unfortunately, people just don't react, I don't think, as much as they used to.
Right. And now I know some of the other attackers are still set to go to court. They could go to trial. What do you hope happens?
I'd like to see these guys get what's coming to them. An average hate crime sentence should be at minimum 10 years. If you want to give them 5 to 6 years in jail, I get it. But to give someone a walk for a hate crime, no matter who it is wrong. But I feel what should have been is the feds should have taken this case from the outset. Federal statutes much harder sentences, and the feds never took this case for whatever reason. I don't know the reason why. But Bragg came into office and everything got, like the first day in, he said, I'm not prosecuting anything. And this is just a problem of a symptom of what his beliefs are.
All right, Barry Borgen, thank you so much for being here, telling us your story, and we're praying for you and your son.
Thank you for having me, and let's hope New Yorkers respond and things change in New York.
And as we just mentioned, there are new concerns that the hate the Borgen family suffered may be on the rise. The Anti-Defamation League survey shows 1 in 5 American adults believe in negative stereotypes about Jewish people. That's up from 1 in 9 in 2019. The group believes we're seeing a spike over lax social media policies and rhetoric from former President Donald Trump. Across the country, people are remembering the life of Tyree Nichols. Candlelight vigils and peaceful protests were held. Skateboarders performed in parks since it was a passion of Nichols. People showed their solidarity by holding lit candles, marching with signs, as well as praying together. The memorials are happening after body cam footage was released showing excessive force against Nichols, which ultimately led to his death. 2 EMTs who arrived at that same scene where Nichols was beaten are suspended. They're both under investigation. They are seen in video helping Nichols sit up, but didn't do anything for him for 7 minutes. Now people want to know why they didn't do more to help him. The investigation is expected to wrap up this week. New York City Mayor Eric Adams spoke out about what makes the NYPD an elite police force. Simply put, diversity is key to growing its trust.
We want to diversify departments. It's not only African American. We have increased the number of members from the AAPI community, Spanish-speaking officers, Muslim officers. The role was to ensure that you diversify departments so the officers are coming from the communities that they represented.
He added that diversity is here to stay and that he felt betrayed watching the body cam video. Still to come on Currents News, rare insight. New revelations revealed as to exactly why Benedict XVI became the first pope in 600 years to resign. We have insight as to the reason Pope Benedict XVI resigned in 2013. He suffered from chronic insomnia, which caused severe exhaustion. That's according to a papal biographer. His Holiness even used strong sleeping pills to try and remedy the issue. The pontiff's problem became much worse at 2005's World Youth Day, which was his first big papal trip. People may be scaling back on their New Year's resolution to exercise, but that wasn't the case for one mother in Colorado. As Lindsay Grew shows us, she put in a lot of work to reach new heights for women by traversing a popular and painful 2,700-step incline hiking trail.
In 2021, Rachel Jones set out to join one of the incline's most exclusive groups, the 500 Club, that rarefied group of incliners who have completed 500 laps in a year. But when that proved too easy, she decided to try something only a few others ever had.
There's a really small club called the 1,000 Club, and only 3 people have ever done it 1,000 times within a year. All men, all phenomenal, incredible, strong men. And I just felt like, why not? And I wanted something that would push me more, that would stretch me more, that I would have to sacrifice more.
She never guessed how much more. Rachel's journey to 1,000 started in December 2021. She would have 365 days to complete her goal. She faced the usual hurdles early on, sometimes having to fit as many as 8, 10, 12 inclines in a day around a full-time job and being a mom to a teenager. Then, with less than 4 months to go.
And my body was just starting to feel run down, and I'm thinking maybe I'm overdoing it. I don't know what's going on. Come to find out, end of September, I discovered that I'm pregnant.
Rachel was thrilled.
But the timing was just not ideal, obviously.
So she spoke to her doctor.
Because I had already hiked so much leading up to the beginning of my pregnancy, my body was accustomed to continue going. So she was fully on board with me continuing. But I'd need to work around my symptoms of the first trimester, which were brutal.
Rachel dug deep within herself to finish those 1,000 laps.
Doing these slower laps and it being harder, it was kind of a really neat and humbling experience to end in that way, to not end feeling like I'm my strongest and fastest and on top of the world. Instead, I felt like when I started in the beginning.
Well, that is an impressive story by Lindsay Grew. Of those 1,003 laps that Rachel hiked, her unborn daughter was with her for 440 of them. Losing a pet is never easy, but a dog returning home after missing for 5.5 years, well, that's an unbelievable blessing.
So good to see you. You're so much older than you were when we had you.
Aww. You're looking at little Buddy. Despite being microchipped, nobody could find him. That was in 2017. Miraculously, he was found wandering the streets of a town recently, about 40 miles away from home. It almost sounds like a sequel to the film Homeward Bound. Too cute, and what a happy ending. And that is Currents News. I'm Christine Persichetti. Thank you for joining us because we are putting your faith in the news. Hope to see you again next time.